So a quick update on the Gene Technology Bill. The Select Committee have let us down by ignoring most of the submissions they received and tinkering a little bit around the edge of this Gene Technology Bill. Luckily, New Zealand First have spoken up and said, look, there needs to be some major changes before they can support it. And those changes need to include certain principles that are missing from this bill. I just wanted to sum them up because this is kind of like the People's Charter for gene technology regulation. Not just this bill, but any bill that comes before Parliament needs to have some basic principles. Principles like number one, protection of our GE-free, non-GMO advantage. It's what farmers and exporters are saying helps us export to the world. It's our point of difference. It protects our GE-free export advantage that's worth billions. We need to have choice. There needs to be choice by tracing and labelling, not exempting a whole lot of gene-edited products assumed to be safe without testing, leaving it up to the companies basically to regulate themselves, not on. We've got to have tracing, we've got to have labelling. It's what farmers want, it's what consumers want, it's what the markets want. And gene editing is genetic engineering. It needs to be regulated. And that choice then means that it falls to companies like Zespri to own up if they start using gene editing rather than natural breeding. It also involves companies like Fonterra, even though they're selling our brands. They need to be clear if they're starting to use gene editing and genetic engineering in our products. And of course it falls to the supermarkets like good old Woolworths and Pam's and New World to say, look, no, we're going to give our consumers and customers a choice. We need to have precaution. The precautionary principle is nowhere to be seen in this bill, but it needs to be something that the regulator obeys, because we need precaution to protect nature itself from when we don't know what we're doing. And that's the case with things like when doctors say do no harm. The precautionary principle is the equivalent for nature. If the regulator doesn't know he's about to do something or she's about to do something really dangerous for the nature and for the ecosystem or for humans, they can say, look, we won't do that. Ethics. We've got to have ethics. There was a bioethics council once, but it was cancelled by the government. We need to bring it back or have some kind of recognition that you can't be cruel to humans, you can't be cruel to animals, you can't enforce gene technology onto people or into food or into systems without some kind of ethical framework to say that's right, that's wrong. And we've also got eugenics, the idea of improving humans on the horizon, which again, we've got to have an ethical, values, human standard in legislation. We've also got to have control. We can't have mandatory approvals or basically duplicate approvals that have been made overseas for emergency medical uses of gene technology or other genetic engineering products that just because they've been approved by somebody else. We've got to have sovereignty. You've got to have governance here, not tie the hands of the regulator to obey and follow the other countries. There are competitors in clean, green, sustainable food production. That's what we've got, and that's what we can move towards more of. We don't need to have genetic engineering to stop climate change or to feed the world. We do need GE-free, ethical production. Organics is climate action, so is agroecology. We also need liability on companies that use the gene technology, not socialised risk that puts ratepayers and owners of land at risk. So those regional councils that wanted a GE-free zone and had precaution in their regional plans, they shouldn't be liable. The ratepayers shouldn't be liable for private use of genetic engineering. The companies using it need to be liable. And we need to have strict liability on those users to make them comply, to make them want to not contaminate other people's crops and to contaminate other products. So those are the principles that need to be in any bill. And thank you, New Zealand First, for standing up for New Zealand and putting it first.